They lost their pass game coordinator this offseason. Clint Kubiak is now the offensive coordinator for the Saints. And the Niners haven't replaced him. It's been like a month, about, not quite, 4 weeks. I'm sure Kyle could do it himself. But historically, he's had a pass game coordinator. In the past, it was Bobby Slowick, who's now the offensive coordinator with the Houston Texans. I think this is important. Kyle needs to be doing more delegating. I think this job matters, and he's got to, I'm not saying he's not going to hire one, but I'm curious to see what direction he goes. What are you thinking?
Well, there's also there's reports of a candidate in-house that actually got an offensive coordinator interview by the Patriots earlier this year, and Brian Flury. He's our tight ends coach right now. Yeah. He's been with the Niners for 3 years, started out as defensive quality control, switched right over in his second year to offensive quality control. And since 2022, he's been the present tight ends coach. Now, it seems like a guy that his entire career he has been on the defensive side of the ball. He got into the offensive side of the ball in only 4 years ago. So I don't know if he's ready for that role. Brian Greasy is still in house, but right now I think the biggest factor is that it's kind of been swept under the rug that there really haven't been any candidates as far as outside hires are concerned. And this is a point that I'm pretty much going to take from you. I'm sorry, but all of the inside hires, are basically going to be having a dual responsibility. That's the thing about this hire, is that if you get Brian Flury in, is he going to be the tight ends coach and the pass game coordinator? If you do that to Brian Greasy, is that going to happen to him as well? So right now, you're kind of looking at a log jam again on offense with workload. So you have to ask yourself, is this kind of plausible deniability that, this never gets talked about? We kind of get down the line into the season. It's like, Kyle himself had to write all of the pass game coordination for the entire season. And that's one of the reasons why he really couldn't focus this year. So we got to get a pass game coordinator. That's really what we have to do. So it's a hole. It needs to get filled, and it's not really being talked about.
Yeah, I mean, their run game coordinator is Chris Forrester. They could promote Brian Flury. Like you said, they need to find a tight end coach. But, I mean, I think you could probably find a tight end coach. And they seem like they've kind of been grooming him for this moment. He's been on the team since 2019. And he's taken sort of like the Kyle Shanahan boot camp course to becoming a coordinator. He started off as defensive quality control coach, 2019. Moved over to offensive quality control coach for 2 years. And now he's been a position coach for 2 years. And what's cool about a tight end position coach, if you think about it, tight ends are sort of involved in everything. They're in the line. They do they're blocking. They're running routes. They're part of the route combinations. They're involved in the pass game, the run game. So he does have sort of a good background to take the next step and be, if not an offensive coordinator, a pass game coordinator. That'd be a good, I mean, seems like a good promotion. What about bringing someone from the outside, though?
I was just about to ask you this. What do you think Brian Greasy is ready to take that job if he was? Like, this is Brian Greasy's third? This will be his third year coaching period, right?
No, I don't think he is, because to me, I think when the Niners want to groom someone as a coordinator, they do the whole quality control thing, and then this Greasy.
So he's not on track.
I don't think so.
You think he's more of a specialist then?
Hey, but he has his whole playing background, so maybe they feel that Brian Greasy actually could call. He didn't have to call plays. That he actually could game plan these things, even though he does
have his hands on Brock. That's what I'm saying. Like they may do it. He's been intricate in developing Brock. It seems like it fits hand in glove. Brian Greasy may be the dark horse, honestly.
True. Okay, but from the other perspective, do you want to take him away from Brock? Maybe he's a great quarterback coach for Brock, caddy for Brock. Maybe he needs to be someone in Brock's ear every day. I don't know. Clay Kubiak's an assistant. They do have 2 quarterback coaches. Clint Kubiak's little brother is the assistant quarterback coach.
Really?
He's also, Greg Kubiak. What's the guy's name? Greg Kubiak?
Great. Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak, the other G name. Gary Kubiak. Yeah, his son. So maybe he could do it, although I think he's 31, 2, something like that.
They got a whole little Mormon temple over there. Everybody's in there. It's like everybody's related.
Yeah. I want to go have some fun with this, though. They bring in someone from the outside?
All right. What are you thinking?
Bring in Mike Martz.
Mike Martz?
He's a big Trey Lance fan. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, bringing in Mike Martz will be really dope, but then you have to. I don't think he's from the tree. Hold on, wait a minute. That's something you have to also look at too. Who do we know in the Shanahan system, like, universe, if you will, that's kind of dangling out there, that's out there right now that could get hired? Like somebody that got fired from like the Jets or the Vikings or the Dolphins or Houston.
Let's think outside the box here. Look at what the
because they don't
Chargers
think outside
did.
the box.
I like to. Look what the Chargers did with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh brought in Mark Trestman as like a senior offensive assistant. Guy was just hanging around. He's been around for a long time. He's a really good coach. Guys like that out there. I mean, I know Mike Holmgren's like been retired, but I don't know. Trestman would have been good.
Yeah,
but Trestman. Kyle, it's more about, do you know his system? I don't think Kubiak kind of does. They brought in Kubiak.
I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, that's the thing. We can just like, okay, so let's look at the defensive coordinator search, right? We kind of lived that whole thing through. It was nice to talk about all of the outside hires. It was cool to say, oh, what can we do? But I kind of feel like the same way about offense, that we're not looking at the offensive side of our team like we'll be looking at defense.
Right.
Are they really going to get rid of Chris Forster? Right? Are they really going to, like, it's like, if you bring it, like, who's going to come in and be the pass game coordinator for a team where all they're doing is literally putting in concepts. You live and die with whatever Kyle wants to do, and you have to come in and immediately learn the scheme. I think that even that job description right now is for like an internal guy that already knows the scheme, because it's really up to what Kyle wants anyway. So it's not like you're going to be sending up innovative stuff to Kyle that's completely outside the scheme, and he's going to be like, you know what, we should really rep this out, try this out. Like, no, he's going to get a guy that knows the scheme.
I would think he would. I think it's going to be Brian Flury. It makes the most sense. I'm curious why they haven't. He's taking his time with this stuff. So what is Kyle trying to figure out? When I promote him? No. Maybe he's looking at people. Let's give him credit. Maybe he's looking for people outside the organization. Clint Kubiak was outside the organization. Maybe he brings in someone else. Really,
was he though?
I would be impressed if he brought in someone else from outside the organization, because to me, that's like, you should be delegating. You should have an offensive coordinator.
I think for the pace of getting what we want as Niners fans and observers, media, we need to be happy with Kyle, kind of going outside the box with Brandon Staley. Yeah. Like, he gave us a ripple. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to be, it's a little too much. Crawl before you walk.